Good morning. This is the very interesting city of Osijek in eastern Croatia. But for today it is only the starting point to get to my real destination, which is a very unique place. But first I need to cross the Drava river. By the way, here you have a view of the center of Osijek. So Osijek would definitely deserve a video on its own. But as I said, the actual destination I have for today is very unique. There are only 3 places like that on this planet. One of them, the largest one, is in Antarctica, so it's uninhabitable. The second largest one is in the Sahara Desert, which is also more or less uninhabitable. But the one where I am going to now is a little bit smaller, but it is on a nice island, I have heard, in the Danube River. So let's go. What I'm talking about are territories that are not claimed by any nation. And I'm going to visit one of them, but I will explain the details later. For now, I am still in Osijek and I found this. I have no idea what that is. Some ancient fort, it seems. So I just had to wait. Yes? Excuse me? Okay, I was afraid that this guy was telling me I am not supposed to go here, but he just asked for a light, which I don't have. Okay. Amazing place here, and I think I will find out what it is. But for now I have to go because I got another about 45 kilometers to get to my destination. Just like to mention that there are some really high quality bike paths here in Croatia, or at least in this more or less flat part of Croatia. So it's generally a good location for cycling. While I'm trying to give you a first impression of the landscape to expect here, let me talk a little bit about the history of this region. Why is this territory, which I'm going to visit, not claimed by any nation? So this has to do with the border dispute between Croatia and Serbia. Both of these countries agree that the Danube River is their border, but the question is which version of the Danube River. Now, in the 19th century, I think it was in the 19th century, maybe the early 20th century, the Danube has been straightened. So there is the new Danube, which goes relatively straight, and the old Danube, which is mostly on the eastern, that is the Serbian side of the new Danube. Now, Serbia says that the new Danube is the border, and that is also the de facto border, and Croatia sees it differently. So they say that the old Danube is the border, and that's the dispute. So Croatia actually claims the part west of the old Danube. Now the thing is, the old Danube is to, I would say, 90 to 95% on the eastern, that is on the Serbian side. So Serbia would lose a lot of territory if it was internationally accepted that the old Danube would be the border. So the old Danube is for the greatest part on the eastern, on the Serbian side, with a few exceptions. And one of these exceptions, the largest one, with 7 square kilometers is the place I am going to visit today. And this is one of the only places that is on the Croatian side of the new Danube. So that would mean if Croatia would just occupy this territory, they would have no longer any reason to claim the much larger Serbian territory on the eastern side of the new Danube. So that's why Croatia doesn't claim this territory. And on the other hand, if sorry, did I say Serbia? This is why Croatia doesn't claim this territory. And on the other hand, if Serbia would claim this territory, they would basically accept that the old Danube is the border, and they would no longer have any right, any reason to claim all of their territory on the eastern side of the new Danube. So yeah, it's a little bit complicated. Maybe I'm gonna show some maybe I'm gonna show a map to make it more clear to you. But okay, we have this piece of land, 7 square kilometers, which is not claimed by any nation. So some Czech businessman or entrepreneur just claimed this country and said, okay, nobody wants to have this, so let me take it, and I am gonna build a blockchain-based new state on this territory. So I don't want to go into details about this political stuff, or maybe it's more business stuff than political stuff. I don't even remember the name of this guy. So he claimed it and he called it Liberland, the land of liberty. Some people say he is some kind of anarcho-capitalist or just anarchist. I am not really sure what will happen. It keeps exciting, but this video is not about politics, it's more about the territory. By the way, these forests here around the Danube and the Drava rivers are also called the Amazon of Europe, for obvious reasons, I would say. I mean, it is not a rainforest because it is much too dry here, but these territories are regularly flooded when these two huge rivers have high water level, and they definitely have lots of uncommon plants and animals here. Definitely a lot of mosquitoes. Even though it is quite early in the year, it is the beginning of May, but it's still quite hot. I think we got 27 degrees Celsius today. Now I was thinking that the term of Amazon of Europe was a bit of an exaggeration, but I mean, when you look at that, it is definitely not a rainforest, but it is something similar, at least really amazing. Look at that. You can take some boat tours here, which could be interesting. Reminds me a bit of these river delta landscapes. And there are even some sandy beaches. For the next few kilometers I'm gonna ride on this dam, which protects the back country here from floodings of the Danube River, here on the right side somewhere. I have to say it again and again, this landscape is really unique. Haven't seen anything like that in Europe, at least. And as you can see, this is part of the Amazon of Europe bike trail. Getting closer to my final destination, maybe another 8 kilometers or so. So far I can say that the landscape alone is worth it, but will I be able to enter Liberland? I'm not so sure. And what makes me a little bit insecure is the fact that there is very little, for example, YouTube coverage of this place. I mean, there are quite a lot of videos about politicians, or let me say wannabe politicians of Liberland, giving interviews and things like that. I mean, when I say wannabe politicians, I don't mean it in a negative way, because I think it's basically a great idea to start a new nation, because most of the nations, or at least the governments of most of the nations I know, kind of suck. So it's a good idea, but I'm not really sure if they do it in the right way. So what makes me a little bit insecure is that very few, if any, travel YouTubers have actually entered this territory. There is one really famous YouTuber. His name is Drew Binsky, who uploaded a video, I think it was about 2 years ago, where he failed to enter that country or that territory. But he tried to get there from the Serbian side. And the video is mostly about him and his buddies having trouble with border patrols and so. But I don't think that this can happen here, because as far as I know, it is possible to enter for members of the Schengen zone, which I am, being a German citizen. There even is a website where you can register, which I actually did. I am not sure if anybody really cares, but you can enter your passport number and so on to register for a visit of Liberland. Let's see. Okay, but anyway, I will try. Let's boldly go where no YouTuber has gone before. Yeah. So this is the Zlatna Greda eco village. This is where I am right now, Zlatna Greda, and this is my destination. This is Liberland. The large river, that's the new Danube, and all of these little ones are part of the old Danube. So this is Croatia here, and to the right this is Serbia, and that's the disputed border region. Over there, about 50 meters or so from here, this is supposed to be Liberland. Let's see if we can get a first glimpse. This is not the place where we can enter, because there is this old arm of the Danube, which I probably cannot cross. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Never mind. So actually the place where I'm planning to cross is over there on the northern side. And there should be some track, some trail. Maybe it's a little bit more than 50 meters. Or maybe this already is Liberland, which I don't think. Just returned because I saw some animal, and I'm not sure what it is. Maybe, most likely, a boar, which I definitely don't want to meet here in the wild. Okay. Yeah, all of the time I've been thinking, are there maybe any wild animals like, well, I don't think there are bears here, but maybe wolves. But there are definitely wild pig, wild boars, which can get quite dangerous. Okay, let's continue to the northern part of Liberland and hope that there are no wild animals there. According to my GPS, that's the way to go. No specific warnings here, so seems fine. I mean, this is not directly the border. I have to go another, I'd say, 1 kilometer this way, and then turn right, and that's the border to Liberland. So, just had a very nice conversation with the Croatian border police. They just checked my passport or my ID. Took a while. Looks like they have inserted me into some list of people who visited Liberland. But I have no issue with that. But unfortunately, they also told me that I probably will not be able to go there because of high water. But they let me in. Let's see what is here. So here we can see the Danube. I'm going to film that car. And let's see. So this is already quite a nice location. Really nice sandy beaches here, and all of this over there on the right side, that is Liberland. Over there we have Serbia, unclaimed territory, and Croatia. So let's see how we can get in there. just need to get a little bit closer to the water over there, because this huge piece of sand, whatever you should call it, I wouldn't call it a beach, some sand bank or whatever, really looks unique. Just look at these huge clams you can see here. So over there I can see some tents on this little island next to Liberland, and I think over there, I'm not sure if you can see this boat, this is for sure some kind of border patrol, and I'm also sure they are watching me, so I am quite visible with my yellow shirt, so I'm not gonna provoke them anymore and slowly go back. But this place is really more amazing than I thought. I think I used the word amazing too often in this video. Okay, but for now I gotta go back to Osijek, but I can well imagine that sometime I will come back to Liberland, maybe when it's more developed, maybe when it will be recognized as a state, which I actually don't think will happen, but who knows. So it was really weird that this Croatian police patrol has been following me almost all the way. Just when I took one really bad road, some muddy road, they waited. I think they didn't want to make their car dirty. But I think somewhere they are still waiting for me, and that's a good thing. So they will notice that I did not settle down anywhere, as I told them. So, is this where I came from? Yes, I think so. So that's it for today. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.